up, everybody? It is Parth here with Pierre Quell and very special guest, Aaron Nagler, friend of the pod, been here many times before. Feels like we're always matched up against the pack, as you can tell from his pretty.
Yeah. Yeah, one of these times we're going to get one on you guys. I'm sick of coming on this pod and talking ball, and we're all excited about the game, and then you guys just whoop up on us. We got to turn this around at some point.
It's the first time we're back in Lambeau.
It's been a while, right?
Philly game, so back in Lambeau, and obviously, from the sweatshirt, Love versus Hurts. But last time we were in Lambeau, it was Carson versus Aaron.
That's right.
And
it was Carson versus Aaron for 3 quarters.
Exactly.
Yeah, seriously.
3 quarters, and then all of a sudden, a new era of football started. So, before we get into everything, how's everybody doing?
Doing good, man. Always great to have Aaron on. Like you said, man, we've played the Packers, 4 or 5 times over the last
it
2-3
feels
seasons.
like every year we're absolutely butting heads against you guys, no question.
Yeah, budding rivalry in the NFL.
Yeah, no doubt.
Potential NFC championship game.
That's the thing, though. Like, Packers got to start winning some of these for it to be a rivalry. Otherwise, it's just, the big brother picking on little brother. Come on.
What did your LB say about the Celtics? It's not a rivalry. They just kick our ass.
Yeah, it's got to start winning a couple of these. Jeez, please.
Well, more below a dub to those who celebrate. It is I, the one and only Markwell Fripp Owens. It's always sunshine and birds here in Philadelphia. But this week, we saddle up, go on the road to Green Bay. Could be a little cold out here. It's supposed to be some snow out there on Sunday. Maybe not during game day, but a little chilly prior to that.
I know, finally some football weather. It's supposed to be I believe in the 30s or so that night. And yeah, you're right. The snow is supposed to hit a little bit before the game does. But nice to have, that season kind of turn and have the calendar turn to actual football weather. I'm sick of 75 and 80 nonsense. That ain't ball, man. That's still preseason stuff. So it's good. It's good. I'm excited for it.
Oh, there is definitely something about, you see the players on the field, the grass is half dead, and you
chewed up and right.
The breath coming out,
cold coming out. Definitely,
there is something about that. Quell, you said it's always sunny, birds in Philadelphia. Coincidentally, it's even nicer in Philadelphia than it is in Miami, according to Jaelan Phillips. So I have no idea how miserable that man was in the Dolphins building.
Brother.
The best day of their life.
That reminded me of Randall Cobb when Cobb got traded back to the Packers, and one of the first things he said was it was like getting out of jail. He said that into a microphone, is I hate that you guys made that move because he's such a good player, and obviously he's got history with Fangio. I gotta suspect they're gonna let him get after Love early and often in this game.
Yeah, his wife either just had a baby or is about to have a baby. I think he got married last year. He said getting traded to the Eagles is the greatest experience
of his life. I saw that. The greatest thing to happen to him probably in my entire life. I think that's what he said.
That's so funny.
Damn.
That's real. That's real.
True.
That's awesome,
right?
Bro. It is awesome. But yeah, it's gonna be exciting. A couple teams that, like you said, we've matched up in the past. Now both of us have added an edge rusher here. Obviously you guys with the bigger name on the market, but Definitely. Some new additions to the team. Aaron, how have you felt about the Packers this year?
They're really inconsistent. Everybody saw they came out those first 2 games and it was kind of eyebrow raising, they might have something here, they're cooking. And since that week 3 loss to the Browns, it's been nothing but inconsistency. And they've shown flashes of the team we saw those first 2 weeks, but it's a lot of shooting themselves in the foot, but it's also they've really struggled up front with the offensive line. You guys know your offensive line is the engine for your offense, and it doesn't matter how many bells and whistles and skill position players you got. If you can't get anything done up front, it's going to be a long day at the ballpark, and that's kind of played out most of these games. Now, it's not like it's been terrible. They've had, like I said, they've had moments, they've had stretches, but every time they seem to get the ball rolling, let's get some kind of drive going, there's a holding call, there's a pre-snap penalty of some kind, there's something they do that basically either sends them backwards or really stagnates the drive. And that has been kind of the one consistent thing on offense, is you can count on this team getting in its own way. But they move the ball. They do a great. They've got plenty of talent. It's just at some point it seems like every time during one of these extended drives, they're going to shoot themselves in the foot. And look, the Panthers didn't do anything magical. They were in a too high shell 90% of that game on Sunday. Now here comes Vic Fangio, Mr. Too High. I love a too high shell myself. I don't think they're going to see much different for the rest of the season because most teams are going to say, we're going to force you, we're going to dare you to be patient and to not kill yourself. And like I said, man, more often than not, the Packers will do the favor for you and have a holding call or a drop pass on third down or something will occur in these 9, 10, 11 plays that, will set the Packers back to the point where they're either settling for a field goal or punting away.
It also feels like the wolf inside of Jordan Love that says, hey, don't throw that boneheaded pass has kind of been ignored recently.
Well, you see, okay, there's a horrible interception in that Panthers game. Right. No question about it. It's completely predetermined. I don't know if the wisdom of Matt calling a shot play as it is, but, you would trust your quarterback to know, okay, if that's well covered, that deep post, just check it down, live to fight another day. I mean, it's completely predetermined, and you do see every once in a while one of these kind of seemingly short circuit moments from Jordan. But the thing is on balance this season, he's played extremely well. And those moments have been seriously few and far between. He's got, I think, 4 interceptions on the entire year. I mean, for a guy, the narrative around him is how not careful with the ball he is.
Right.
He hasn't done a whole lot when it comes to putting the ball in jeopardy. But when it has occurred, whether it is that Panthers game or that Browns game in week 3, it's been in big spots or big moments that have swung the game. So, yeah, now here come the Eagles to keep trying to tempt him and have that devil on his shoulder going, no, go ahead, chuck it deep, see what happens.
So, like that. So there was obviously the pick against the Panthers, and then there was the almost pick, right? The one where he was kind of running around. Have you? I mean, I guess I didn't realize it was 4th and 8. I only saw the highlight, to be honest. So I guess in that case,
You mean the internet was trying to do some work and maybe possibly not give you all the context? I'm shocked.
Exactly.
I'm very shocked.
Exactly. But I guess that makes sense. But you think that's kind of been minimized this year more so?
It really, I mean,
overall the offense
for his entire the way he's played this year has been exemplary for the most part. And look, you don't take my word for it. Look at any advanced metric, any of the major metrics, he's in the top 5, 6 of every single one of them. It's like he has played really good football. He does need help up front, though. And that's the 4th and 8 is a perfect example. Everyone's killing him for it, but it's like, go back and watch that play.
Yeah.
The guard gets beat almost instantly. And this is a gotta have it situation. And all of a sudden you're scrambling for your life the moment after the ball has been snapped. It's like, I don't kill Jordan for that play at all. He's trying to make something happen on a gotta have it situation, right? Like whether the decision to throw back across, whatever, I don't care, man. He's trying to make something happen in the situation where you can't throw it away. You can't take a sack. He's trying to make a play. So, yeah, that's the thing. The offensive line has been a real disappointment so far this year. It's been very inconsistent. The idea being this offseason that they were going to move Elton Jenkins to center. That sounded great in theory, but in practice, it has really backfired because he has not been anywhere near as good as they need him to be or probably thought he'd be. They paid Aaron Banks a ton of money. He got a really kind of slow start because of injuries in camp, and he has been somewhat pretty inconsistent throughout the year, although he had been playing better the last couple of weeks until he went out in this Carolina game, I think after 9 snaps, and that completely screwed up their kind of plan up front. And that seemingly happened in like every other game at this point. They've had so many different combinations and guys just playing all over the map. It's been really hard for them to A, get some consistency, but B, get any kind of bank reps together as a unit. So, I mean, like I said, I don't have to tell you guys, like if your offensive line is right, you can do a lot. But if it's wrong, and it's been wrong for most of this season, it has been a real chore.
So I'm kind of glad that you actually mentioned the offensive line because doing my research into the team, it kind of felt like how I put it on my notes as who are the Packers offensive line? It feels like they're kind of trying to stuff square pegs in the round holes, specifically with, like you talked about some of the metrics. When you look at some of the rushing metrics, the Packers have shown a commitment to wanting to run the ball.
Yes.
Whether it's
Matt's going to run it no matter what. Yep. 100%.
Right. whether it's in general, on first downs, on neutral passing, they're going to run the ball in the red zone. But then you look at how unsuccessful the running game has been, to say the least, this season. And it feels like they're trying to force these guys. Like, at what point do you just kind of, like I've said about the Eagles and their kind of affinity with the under center passing game, the under center game over the last few weeks, at what point do you just commit to the bit if you're the Packers and tell yourself, we're a passing team?
It's funny you say that. I literally got so frustrated in this Panthers game where I tweeted out something almost exactly like that. I think the words were, Matt LaFleur has to find Jesus here, and he has to come to the realization where you got to coach the team you have. You can't keep coaching the team you wish you had or you hope you have. Like, at some point, and I think maybe this is a demarcation line. Maybe we see a bit of a different approach on Monday night against the Eagles. They have to maybe admit, like, hey, yeah, no, we can't keep, pounding our head against the wall. The problem is, of course, is there are stretches where they are successful, and they did some nice things on the ground against the Panthers, but then they continuously shoot themselves in the foot and take points off the board, etc. But yeah, man, to me, it felt like exactly that on Sunday against the Panthers. Like, can we just admit that they can't do this? And also, it's not like you're, here, Jordan, this really kind of mid-level, questionable quarterback to turn over to the offense to, right? Like, you've got a guy playing at the top of the game. You got one of the best quarterbacks in the league to hand those keys to. That's where it gets a little frustrating, I think, for Packers fans, because it's like you see Jordan Love do it week in and week out while they're not doing a whole lot to put him in great positions to succeed. Like, they are constantly behind the sticks because they can't get much going in the run game. So, man, maybe it's this week, maybe it's down the stretch, but at some point I'm with you, man. It feels like they've reached a moment where they have to admit who they are.
So you talked about, them needing to run the ball and, get consistent in that avenue. You guys lost Tucker Kraft last week, and he's been the proverbial engine that's driven you guys.
He's in a better place.
What a quote. What a quote. I love Romeo Dobbs is the best, man.
The full video did not let down either. Like, you see the quote, and then you watch the full video. He really thinks he's in a better place.
He's at home on the sofa, man. It's a better place. Sounds good to me.
Well, yeah, Tucker, he's been the proverbial engine that's driven you guys' passing offense. I think he was seeing, 6 targets a game, almost 500 yards, 6 touchdowns. You guys play heavy personnel, 12 personnel, I think the top 5 in the league. Like, what are you guys going to do without how?
I got you an alley-oop, my brother. Jalen, when you talk about Jordan Love statistically is the best quarterback in the league against man coverage, at least by EPA. But when you look at the metrics behind that and you realize that, god damn, Tucker Kraft was responsible for
a lot of that.
43.8% of the Packers receiving yards against man coverage and 5 of their 11 touchdowns.
It's not insignificant, right? Here's my guess, though. Here's what I think is going to happen. And you're not wrong. It's a huge blow. And they certainly are going to have to operate a different way because you can't insert Luke Musgrave to do what Tucker Kraft was doing. He's just a very different player. That would be folly. But what I do think is possible, and I suspect we do see some of this. You mentioned 12 personnel. There were even kind of flashes. They've had a couple snaps this year where they've gone 13. And they generated a explosive out of 13 personnel against the Commanders back in week 2 that I think we're going to see some more of that type of thing with Musgrave as a vertical threat. Because you guys know this year across the league, one of the kind of trends on offense has been get defenses into their base or in their heavy personnel and then have some of these athletic tight ends get up either vertically or on the, on the perimeter or whatever and utilize some of that athleticism against guys who aren't nickel corners or safeties or what have you. I don't think it's foolproof, but I do think that's a good way to use Musgrave. Musgrave had a phenomenal training camp, but he hasn't had much to do in the regular season because when they're in, most of these personnel groups, Musgrave is out there in 2 tight end sets, but he's never the featured target, almost never, right? But now they're probably going to be drawing up a few things for him at least, and I tell you, man, like this is a guy who's missed so much time his first 2 years in the league. You really don't know what he is yet. And now he gets his opportunity. He was drafted ahead of Tucker Kraft. Don't forget that. And I do think there's going to be opportunities for him. He's got to make the most of them because, like you said, they're going to need production that's going to be missing because Tucker's not there.
So do you think? So you think most of that production is going to they're going to try to remain in those heavier sets, go through Musgrave instead of more?
I think it'll be a combination. They're not going to junk everything. They're not going to junk the offense, right? They're still going to do a lot of the stuff out of the gun where they have the run solutions to the wide receivers and fans get all upset about it. And it's like, well, when it doesn't work, it sucks. But when it works, they're scoring touchdowns with it. I do think, you'll see Musgrave utilized kind of everywhere across everything because he is going to be your prominent tight end. But I don't think it's going to be a monster shift. I think there'll be some different wrinkles, but their base offense probably won't change that much.
Makes sense.
So switching to the other side of the ball defensively, this Packers defense has been of an interesting phenomenon. I mean,
that's one way to put it. Yeah.
You look at just the season alone, where Micah Parsons has the second most pressures at 44 in the league. But then you look at last week against the Panthers team, who you would think is more susceptible than most to a pass rush like what Green Bay has. But they only had 1 sack and 2 quarterback hits against the Panthers.
Yeah, and he came off his first non-pressure game in his career. Like, he didn't have a single pressure in that game.
So when you talk about how this Packers team could attack Philadelphia, specifically Jalen Hurts in general, who's usually widely blitzed, but the Packers don't really blitz much.
I've been talking about this all week. I will be shocked if they send pressure after Hurts. I think they're going to play Rolodex coverage behind, and they're going to rush with 4 as much as they can. And I think Barkley's going to eat. You saw the approach that the Panthers had, right? And that's pretty simple. And I got to think, I don't think it'll be a carbon copy, but I do think that will be the Eagles' game plan. Run the hell out of the ball. Keep yourself in short down distances on 2nd and 3rd and make hay in the passing game that way. Because one of the things Micah did talk about after that game is there were, against Carolina, like literal classic drop back sets for him that he could pin his ears back and get after the quarterback. There were 2 in the entire game because they kept running the ball. And anytime he did throw it, it was quick game out to the flat, click slam, whatever. No chance for that pass rush to pin its ears back and get after it. To me, that's 100% what I expect the Eagles to do on Monday night because they definitely seem to have found their run game there a little bit against the Giants before you guys went on break. And until the Packers prove that they can stop it, I would just pound the hell out of it because, man, it was hard to watch against the Panthers. And somebody joked like, well, here come the Eagles who are probably going to play the exact same way on both sides of the ball as the Panthers did. They're just going to do it with a lot better players. So I don't, if you're the Eagles, it seems like the blueprint is laid out for you.
And, it's funny you say that because even when Micah was on the Cowboys, the Eagles always had a very similar blueprint to beat Micah. We have Lane Johnson. You would run behind Lane Johnson or behind, whichever tackle he was lined
wherever
up.
He's lined up. Yeah.
Just run it towards him and then quick game in the passing game. And then you sprinkle in a couple, traditional dropbacks. But he's such a, such an impactful player that you really have to ensure that he's the focal point of
you have to have a plan down in and down out or he will wreck you. Like there's zero doubt about that. But the whole kind of way you go about that as a team. And it's weird when you see teams not do, like a couple of weeks ago, they played Arizona and Arizona just didn't have a plan for him at all. Like they left him one-on-one with their tackles all the time. And it was wild to me. That was the game, his first 3-sack game of his career. Not a coincidence, but to me, that Philadelphia plays this way anyway, right? Like they love getting in short yards. They want to pull out the tush push and keep it at 4th and 1. And we were playing with 4 downs and blah, blah, blah. Well, that's how they play. That's how you beat Green Bay. You don't let Micah and company pin their ears back on 3rd and long. You stay out of 3rd and long. To me, that's the entire game here on Monday night.
So I guess even aside from 3rd and longs, because I like to think there will be a select few times that the Eagles will give them the chance to pin their ears back, for lack of a better term. But when you look at the how the Packers played the Eagles last year, and there's the infamous Jalen Hurts has all the time in the world.
A 7-second touchdown pass. Good Lord. What's wild though is they played him pretty well. They played the Eagles offense, I thought, pretty well for the majority of that game. There's the big run at the end to kind of salt it away. But on balance, I thought they played okay on defense. I thought, after that first touchdown, which shouldn't have even occurred because we all know that fumble was recovered by the Packers after an illegal hit on the opening kickoff. However, after that first touchdown, I thought the Packers played good defense, and I thought both of those games, I thought they had a decent plan for Jaelan. You know, it's just you can't. It's so hard to like keep that up for 4 quarters. You know, that they're too talented. He's too good. Like that's the one hope is you get a lead, right? And they're having to drop back and throw it 30, 40 times a game. That's just not their ball game. So, yeah, it's going to be frustrating. I have little doubt, but they'll have a plan to contain him as much as they can, you know, on the ground. I think they did a much better job of that in Brazil than they did in the playoff game. But like I said, I think they've got the pieces and they can do what they can to limit him.
You know, one of my kind of sneaky suspicions is like, you know, Jaelan has been very turnover averse this year. He's only thrown 1 interception.
Yep.
I kind of had like this, like woke up in the middle of the night sweating. No, Jaelan might throw a second pick because I think I'm a big fan of Xavier McKinney. I like the way he plays.
Yeah,
he's just a really good fit on that defense. And now you have that extra pressure coming from Micah as well. Yeah. You know, like you said, you know, they got to avoid 3rd and long. They've struggled with that at points this year, and that does worry me, you know, if I'm being honest, that, you know, they've gotten into 3rd and long too often. But if they're able to get the run game going, then I feel good about it. But, you know, if we're in 3rd and long a lot, that's not a recipe for success.
No,
you know?
it goes both ways in that regard, no doubt.
Yeah. So, Aaron, I know you gotta run really quickly. So, let's get your prediction, man. Who wins?
The Packers by a field goal, only because they're at home. It's cold. You guys are coming off the bye, and I know. Look. I know the Eagles are a really good team. The bye, they've rested up. They've added all these pieces on defense, etc. Right? But everyone always acts like the bye is this. Oh, they're rested and ready, and they're going to come out gangbusters. But then, more often than not every time, but more often than not, offenses in particular come out a little disjointed, a little out of rhythm while they're trying to get back into the groove, so to speak, because they haven't played in 2 weeks. And I just think the Packers, after the embarrassment that was that Panthers game, they're going to be juiced up for this one. I suspect, and this has been kind of borne out through Matt's time in Green Bay, they get up for these kinds of games, especially at home, national primetime game. We all saw what happened 2 Sundays ago out in Pittsburgh. Then they had the sleeper at home, noon kickoff. We got a game today. Now they're going to be back up on Monday night. So I think it's going to be tough to watch at times. I don't think it's going to be a clean game by any chance on Green Bay's side because that's just not the way they've operated all year. But I do think they're going to figure out a way to get a very hard-fought, close victory.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. I know it was kind of a little.
Well, you know, this world of life where, you know, we're all jumbled up and trying to keep things going on the internet, and then you got this thing, I got that thing. Okay, but I'm just glad we could connect before the game and talk about it a little bit.
Absolutely.
Next year, though, when we play inevitably the Eagles again, you're coming on Cheesehead TV. Because if we lose again, then it's clearly this is the juju's bad. Me coming on the Philly Blitz. I'm gonna have to have all 3 of you on Cheesehead TV to kind of switch the mojo around. That's gonna have to happen.
Anytime. Maybe even in the playoffs.
That playoff game, I'm there. I'm 100% there. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank
Have
you.
a great night.
Man. You too, man.
All right.
And then there were 3.
Go Birds. Let's get it. So actually, it's funny that he said that these are the kind of games that the Packers get up for. Because I actually had a little stat here.
Wait. Before you go, we're not gonna acknowledge how swift I changed the view like that, man. Like, did we see Come on, man.
He switched topics even faster than he's like, all right, so, and he even said it fast. He's like, all right, so getting down to bed. Oh my god,
we laugh, man. We gotta keep the show on the road.
Like, you know, I was like, so, and he's like, so let's move on. And then Peter switches. I'm sitting here trying to catch my breath. No, what were you saying?
Television, ladies and gentlemen. But so it's interesting. He says that these are the kind of games that the Packers get up for. I mean, to an extent, he's not wrong, but I don't want to say not friend of the pod. He just hasn't been on the pod yet. Maybe one day. But Benjamin Solak, ESPN, came out with this interesting tweet. And He said, he asked the question basically, do the Packers play down to competition? So here are the stats. Of course, let's acknowledge that the Packers are slightly favored against the Eagles. I believe they started at 2.5. This kind of like Q-tip mojo for my gamblers. Y'all pay attention to this. But game started at 2.5. It's down to 1.5 right now. But the Packers average depth of target during the Love LaFleur era as 7.5 point favorites or more. Their average depth of target is 6.5. Man. When they are 6.5, between 6.5 and 1.5 favorites, the average depth of target goes up to 7.8 average depth of target. And then you start borderlining underdog territory when they're underdog between 1 point and 6.5 points. Their average depth of target goes up to 8.5. And then, of course, as an underdog, it shoots all the way up to damn near 10 at 9.8. So clearly, when the world thinks the Packers are on the ropes, the Packers come to play. But like I said a second ago, the Packers are favored as of right now. So this would technically fall into that 6.5, between 6.5 and 1.5, which is 7.8 yards. 7.8 yards per attempt, average depth of target. You know what you want to say.
I'm just surprised that first off the Packers are favored. I don't know.
I think it has to do with them being at home.
Yeah, them being at home, and also, well, to your point.
So,
right?
as a gambler trick to always keep in mind, when you're the home team, Vegas always gives you 3 points off the rip. So, anytime you see a home team that's only favored by 1 or anything in that 2.5, they're only favored because they're at home. Vegas thinks the other team is better.
Appreciate you, Chauncey. Thank you, sir. Yeah, but to your point, right? Like you were just talking about how when they're up against the ropes is when they play. That's also kind of why I think they're going to be ready to play because they got embarrassed. You know what I mean? Like you're at home and you lose to the Panthers in that fashion. They're celebrating on the field. They're losing their mind. It's not a great feeling, you know. And I think these guys are going to be ready to play. But
they're hurting.
They're hurt, right?
They're hurting.
So let's get into it. Injury report, brother?
Yeah, the injury report is lengthy, so give me a second.
Them.
Yeah, for them, yeah. Starting left guard.
Back, baby. We're healthy.
I think I seen somewhere Packers had like 13 players on the injury report while the Eagles had 3.
Yeah. That's beautiful. So for the Packers, starting left guard Aaron Banks, he was limited Thursday and Friday, neck injury. Edrin Cooper, he was limited Thursday and Friday, foot injury. Micah Parsons, he was limited Thursday and Friday, pectoral injury. Starting right tackle, Zach Tom, he was limited Thursday and Friday, back injury. Lucas Van Ness, he hasn't practiced all week. Matthew Golden, he was limited on Thursday, did not practice on Friday. He's dealing with the shoulder. Christian Watson, he was limited on Thursday and Friday. He's dealing with the knee. Dontavian Wicks, limited on Thursday and Friday, calf injury. Savion Williams did not practice on Thursday. He was limited on Friday. He's dealing with the foot injury. Reserve receiver Malik Heath, he popped up on the injury report today. He was limited with the calf. And they lost Tucker Kraft for the year last week. And other receiver Jaden Reed, he was already on
Valhalla, my brother.
He was already on IR with a collarbone. So they are hurting with the cap age.
Pod's over, right? I mean, that was like half hour worth of content right there. My God, right? I can't. At one point, I just zoned out. I was like, all right, seems like a lot of guys, brother.
Yeah.
Wow, dude.
A lot of important guys.
Right. I mean, that's a long list, dude. Jesus. I don't know. All right. Let's and then Eagle side. What are we looking at?
Adoree Jackson did not practice on Thursday or Friday.
God, what? Wait, Adoree Jackson didn't practice?
Oh my gosh! What did
you see this guy that were working out with Christian Parker?
You saw what?
You see the 3 corners that work with Christian Parker solo in practice?
Who was
Quinyon, Coop, Jair Alexander.
My boy is going full-blown balls to the wall. He's replaced the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson hype with Jair Alexander.
I mean, he's from Philly. Born in Philly, man. I got love for it. You guys saw the interview, right? Where he was like talking about all his favorite players and stuff. He's one of us.
He got aura, man. I'm not going to lie. He got some aura.
Even in 18, bro, the aura is there.
He has cornerback level aura. Like what you want in an outside corner, he has it.
That's what I was saying, bro. That's why I was always a big fan. You know what I'm saying? I was like, he plays corner the way I like corners to play. Like he's always talking. Just corner's got to be a little bit insane, and he's got that. I really think he's like just finally getting healthy. I really think it's going to be exciting.
When he was playing for the Packers, didn't he get suspended for a game because he ran out with the captains?
Yeah,
he wasn't supposed to.
Yeah, I think he said that was his city or something.
Bro,
he like, this is my city. I wanted to go out there.
That's so cornerback minded, dude. Yeah, like sign me up, bro. Like I'm here. I have signed up, bro. I staked my claim the first day, bro. This is what I heard him get asked about,
bro. The fact that did he know signing with the Eagles the first game would be with the Packers, and when he found out, what did he say? Y'all seen the interview?
No,
I forget what he said. I did see the interview though.
He was like, I was like, oh, this is like a dream come true. Yeah. How did I ever know? I'm like, look at this guy. Look at this guy. This guy here.
Born at Jefferson Hospital, bro. Born at Jefferson Hospital. We're there, man. We're there. I used to go to that Wawa all the time. Jefferson Hospital Wawa, dude. I got my wisdom teeth taken out there. Oh my God, dude, basically like the same. I wonder if like we can meet up like at Jefferson Hospital or something. Like, yo, we're both former patients, bro.
We gotta turn this into
hang out, man.
We gotta make a reel out of this part. All you gonna hear in the back is, even though what we do is wrong.
Okay, let me finish the injury. Let me finish the injury report. So Adoree Jackson, he's in concussion protocol. He missed practice on Friday with personal issues. Not sure what's going on there. Wish him all the best. And then Cam Jurgens, he has not practiced since week 8. He's still dealing with the knee injury. But on the bright side of things, Moro Adromo, he was a full go. They opened up the practice window for Nolan Smith, who responded when asked if he was playing. Hell yeah. Jacorian Bennett, he's been back on the practice field. AJ Brown, he was a full go.
We got the baby snatcher back. Let's go.
So the Eagles come into this game off of 15 days of rest, so they're well rested and healthy, ready to go.
I'm surprised Cam didn't practice this week, man. I'm glad we got Willie coming up now and healthy, and it makes more sense, because I honestly have not been able to keep up with like the injury as much this week. I've just been. Also, it feels like the articles this week a little bit lacking. Not much out there this week. I really was like
trade deadline. AJ
it was all trade deadline focused, and I was like, not much about the Packers game and stuff. It's a little disappointing there, but it's surprising that he just hasn't practiced since week 8 at all. And I wonder, it's like week 11 now, right? 10. 10.
How I see it is
he's been put on IR, right?
That's what I was about to say. How I see it is I'd expect him back in the next week or two, because if they didn't utilize an IR spot, it's either just bad roster management, or they didn't expect him to miss all this
to be out this long. Yeah, exactly. So then at this point, like, I guess you just don't know what Willie's going to look like. You have to see what Willie looks like in practice, but now at least you have somebody coming out.
Willie. Man, Willie ain't doing nothing but getting behind Jaelan on tush pushes and pushing. Or taking a tush push himself.
You don't think if Landon needs a spell, they wouldn't put Brett at guard and then let Willie play center?
I do. I'm joking. I'm really intrigued. I wouldn't be surprised if they also just let Willie take the year and kind of get him get healthy, learn from Stout. During the summer, really take some time to get him next to a guy named Jason Kelsey, who smaller size wrestling background.
Right.
Willie Lampkin.
Yeah,
smaller size wrestling background. I think we can make something work from there.
Work with that. We got a couple dartboard throws in there. No, yeah, it's just interesting that they're bringing him up right now. The timing of it all, especially the reason it kind of made the antenna go up is because we have so many guys getting added to the roster right now. Right, Nolan's healthy. We have 3 guys we just traded for. We didn't trade any players out. So. It's going to be cut.
We had so many picks that we could just go get.
No, totally. I just mean from a
only person that went out was John Mechie, who wasn't even on the roster 365 days ago.
Yeah, exactly. Man, poor guy, dude. Went from the Texans.
He came to see his homies for a little bit, and then
ended up on the Jets, bro. That's
hey, don't say it like that. You look at it like it's going to football Valhalla. I look at it as there's an opportunity.
Valhalla is the Viking heaven. He's going to football hell. He's going where football dreams go to die, brother.
I look at it as an opportunity for him, man. And draft me is ecstatic right now. You telling me I get to watch AD Mitchell and John Mechie take reps for the Jets for the next 9 weeks? Sign me up. Sign me up.
I hope he gets
some reps. Get them boys.
I'm a big Mechie fan. Definitely hope he gets some reps.
Pierre face looked like, what the hell did he just say to me?
All right. So let's talk about our offense versus their defense. Give a quick overview of what we're expecting. I think, I'm not going to get into that because that's going to be my matchup to watch. But I think Aaron laid it out pretty well, in that stay out of third and long. You need to be able to control the time of possession with the ball and just make the passes when they're there. I mean, the Panthers really did lay out the blueprint in like about as like clear of terms for the Eagles as possible. Like they just played the Eagles game plan. We're able to do it,
Like Aaron said, man, they got the blueprint, but the Eagles can take the blueprint with much better players than what the Panthers utilized it with.
Yeah, I think the thing that's most jarring is just the Panthers. They just manhandled Green Bay last week. Like they just ran the ball at them, and the Packers could not stop them. But just for an overview of this Packers defense, kind of like Aaron said, man, they rush forward, play their zone, they disguise, they rotate, they do not want to blitz. It's like they trust their front four to wreak havoc and get home, specifically Micah. It's like the way I have it in my notes, their front has essentially turned into, hey, we got Micah, let's let him do his thing. And it's worked, right? They're 8th in total defensive DVOA, 10th in defensive success rate. They limit explosives. They got good linebackers on second level with Edrin Cooper and Quay Walker. So I think all in all, it's a pretty good unit. I think for the Eagles offense, like we talked about before, we talked about in the lead up to both of these games, how Jeff Hafley, he kind of excels in, the things that Jalen Hurts struggles with, but kind of through 8 games this year, I don't know if it's a stretch to say, but that's kind of no longer the case, right? If you look at Jalen Hurts versus man coverage this year, 126.3 passer rating, 4th in NFL. But the key here versus zone, which the Packers love to run a lot of, they live in zone.
They live in it.
Yeah. So for Jalen, 100.2 passer rating versus zone. Like we talked about a lot, they've gotten comfortable executing under center passing game. Jalen, he's never been shy throwing it deep, but he's gotten real comfortable hitting the seam shots, the intermediate throws of the field. So like you said, Parth, don't get in third and long, hit the throws as they come, execute your runs. And I think the Eagles, they can get out of there with a W. Like it's pretty much like we said, the same game plan the Panthers had last week. It's just we got better players.
Yeah, it didn't feel like there was much to it, more than Aaron said.
Don't overcomplicate it.
Keep it simple, stupid. It's really that simple. Not to use the word again, but it's like it. You don't need to overthink it and outthink yourself because that's very, very easy to do, and that's what they want you to do. And yeah, you just had to keep it simple. Stay out of third and long. Like that's all I want. I want to just see them consistently start to do that because you could even see it in the last couple of games. We've been winning, yeah, but there have been stretches in the game where we just can't get out of third and long, right? And then there's drives where they're just moving. Exactly. So you got to stay on top of things, play a clean game. It's gonna be cold. It's gonna be loud, but you just got to overcome. You know what I mean? So.
No, I completely understand that, man. I mean, just to kind of echo a lot of what Pierre said, Packers, they want to live in zone coverage, run zone coverage on 79% of their snaps. As a football fan, I wish that they did a better job taking the ball away. Just 5 takeaways on the season, which ranked near the bottom of the league. So they want more of that. But I talked earlier about Micah Parsons and his 44 quarterback pressures, which rank at the top of the league, and the lack of success that they had last week in terms of getting to the quarterback. I'm interested to see exactly how they approached it. I just talked about how much zonal coverage that the team plays. And we talked about when Aaron was here, how the team really doesn't send much of any pressure. For context, in terms of 5+ rushers on a play, they had it's 18%, which is their 29th in the league, and big blitzes, which would be 6+ players, which is at 5%, which is their 19th in the league. They really don't. But when they do, which I mean, when you talk about a Jalen Hurts led offense, Jalen Hurts The Eagles, I believe, are blitzed more than any other team on passing downs. Jalen Hurts has been blitzed on 47% of his dropbacks on the season. Where if the Packers do decide to blitz, they typically play man coverage behind those pressures on 73% of their reps, which is second in the league. So that's something that a changeup could be in store when you talk about Jeff Hafley. I'm interested in this in general because, like Pierre, you said, Jeff Hafley, his whole idea, I talked about this last year when he made the move from Boston College. His whole thing is, I want to play college football defense. Lack of a better term, these quarterbacks not going to beat me. I want must rush, and Jalen Hurts, the runner, isn't going to be the impact. I'm intrigued to see if that's still the case. I mean, I know he still plays his fair share of single high, cover 3. Want to make sure, like Jim Schwartz used to say, give me that extra man in the box, stop the run. But now you have Micah Parsons. How much rush do you really see? Or do you just let your front four pin their ears back and get after Jalen? So I'm interested to see exactly how they approach the game.
It feels like it'll probably be much of the latter, honestly.
But that's exactly why you have to keep him out of that position, because that's what they want to do. You have the best pass rusher in the league. Like, you want to be able to use them. Don't let them. And we've seen it with the Cowboys. Like, we've seen the Eagles do it with the Cowboys year after year. It's not like Micah wrecked every game against the Eagles. The Eagles have done a pretty good job against Micah Parsons historically.
Doesn't he not have a sack against?
I don't think so. I could be tripping.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the stat. I don't think he has one.
Or at least on Lane. Lane. Because there might have been a game where, Lane might have been injured or something. But, yeah, it's not like Micah Parsons has been some crazy nightmare every year. Having Lane Johnson also helps, like that. What was that chart mapping? Was it just efficiency?
The one that I posted earlier?
Yeah.
Basically. I was looking for the one that I posted, that one just settling, because I was really looking for the one just to comment on that about how often the Eagles really leave their tackles one-on-one, because he's talking about, I hope they leave them one-on-one. Brother, the Eagles leave their tackles one-on-one more than any team in the league. Yeah. We're almost begging you, like, we're going to give you exactly what you want to see, sir.
Got 2 bookends, my guy. Oh, pressure rate and time. Thank you, Nima. Pressure rate and time to pressure. Yeah, and Lane, everybody's here, and Lane is just like the outlier in the best way possible. Just an unbelievable player. And he's doing this at, I got to check. How old is he now?
35.
35. I said 32. That's nuts, bro.
My
that's
goodness,
nuts.
Man.
That makes me feel old. I don't want him to be 35. That's nuts.
High level, man.
Wow.
It's amazing to see.
Unbelievable.
Didn't he say this is his last year?
No, he said if they win the Super Bowl, it could potentially be. But he said before the year he got about 3 years left.
Yeah. But you never know with Lane. Like, you could just, and that's what you get to do when you're the best at something. Like, you literally just get to be like,
yes. I mean, see, and that's why I didn't like. I understand why people felt how they felt about Brandon Graham. Like, to an extent, I kind of did too. Because watching the Ray Lewis story, like, that was what you truly want. You get injured, you get a chance to come back, you finish with a fairy tale, win the Super Bowl, go off and retire. Cool. And I mean, I don't think Brandon Graham would ever reach what we talking about with Lane, but I don't think Lane's situation would be like any. I mean, Kelsey's probably the closest to it, but even then, you had guys like I don't know why I want to say Frank Ragnow, guy from the Chiefs. Creed Humphrey, where I mean he had guys on his line, and I mean don't get me wrong, you got guys like Penny Sewell at right tackle who they could maybe stay to the claim, but Lane is literally the best right tackle in football. Like, he could not win a ring and retire, and still it's like a storybook ending because there's nobody at your position better than you, and it hasn't been for almost a decade and a half, man. It's crazy to see.
Yeah, well, to Nimai's comment, as long as it's not Jason Peters part 2, that's all we need, because we don't want it to end the way it did with Jason Peters.
We was looking like it early in the season. I'm not gonna lie you.
I was thinking about it earlier, bro. Remember when we had Dillard and like they wanted him to play tackle, and then they were like, "Oh, JP, can you move out there?" He's like, "I'm gonna need that tackle money. You want me to move out there? I'm gonna need that tackle money before I even step out there." Hilarious, bro. One of one. Jason Peters got every dog. Is he still playing? Because he was playing
he finally got out of there.
Finally, bro. My
I don't
God.
think he retired. He's just not actively playing.
That's hilarious, bro.
If somebody calls, he will be there.
He'll be 45. Like, y'all need a lineman? Like, I'll be a mentor, whatever y'all need. He is
My man
squeezing
moved to
NFL
guard to
every drop,
extend the
bro.
career. He said, "Look, I can move a little bit from the inside phone booth, inside the phone booth."
And he could not. He could not, dude. He could. Oh my God, that was painful, bro. I was like, dude. But I mean, yeah. With Lane, it's just he's so good. He plays at such a high level, like. And I also just don't think he'll care. Like he'll just stop playing when he's done. Like that's just who Lane's kind of been his whole career. Like he's his own kind of own guy. He's like, yeah, I'm just do things my way, you know. So hope we get a couple more years. All right.
Other side of the ball.
Our defense versus offense. Did I say it as fast as you did?
Look, man. Sometimes when you see that time, bro, this that boom or bust right there. Once you see that time hit a certain spot, like damn, that took a little longer than it was supposed to.
Gotta get him out of here.
Speed it up a little bit.
Get him out of here. Just start talking like you're on 2x speed, and then when somebody's listening, you're like, what's going on? Like I can't understand a word that's going on. All right, but overall, you know, I think Aaron laid it out pretty nicely for us. You know, they have a multitude of weapons. Obviously, a lot of those weapons have been injured. So this offense is trying to figure things out with a lack of weapons and with a lack of offensive line help. And that's never a recipe for success. They've been able to win games and stay in games because, you know, Jordan Love, although he has like those couple plays where you kind of scratching your head, he's been playing at a high level. Only 4 interceptions this point of the season for Jordan Love is spectacular. That's like as good as Jalen throwing 1 interception all season. Like that's like for what Jordan Love is like that is controlling the wolf to the same level. So I had to you know bite my tongue on that. But with our defense,
he's playing really well. Really well. Like I know we joke, we call him Brett Rogers and all the cool.
He's playing more like the Rogers side right now.
Yeah. And sometimes he goes through these stretches of football. I don't want to say it's fun to watch because he's so erratic. You never know when he's going to decide to cut the switch on or off. But for lack of a better term, he's so fun to watch because he goes through these stretches where, man, when he locks in, my goodness.
It's up with the controller.
Yeah, that's the perfect example. Like, my goodness. You can tell he sat behind Aaron Rodgers for 3 or 4 years because it's like, gracious, good. Did he just make that throw against that coverage? But then you look at him against certain other time. You know, now that I think about him, he reminds me a whole lot of my Drake May scouting report that I said, where it was like when he believes in what's going on around him within the offense, it's not really much you can do with him, which you can see from Drake right now in New England. When he believes in the pieces around him and the guy that's calling the plays and all that, man, he fits right in like a glove into the offense. But then when you look at him when things around, which is kind of like this Green Bay Packers offense right now, can't run block. The receivers are in and out of the offense. Offensive line is sporadic. When things around him aren't going right,
feel like you got to do too much.
Yeah. So he's really a fun watch. And this year it's been, like you said, it's been the Rodgers part of it, man. We got to figure out a way to cool that down.
Well, sorry, Pierre, I didn't mean to interrupt, but all I was going to say before is like, I think they're prepped this week to do that. They are finally healthy on the defensive line. You have the full stable, right? Of everybody who's not on IR, everyone's available. You lost Azeez Ojulari and Okoronkwo, which, you know, unfortunate, but you added Jaelan Phillips. You brought back Nolan Smith. You still have Josh Uche. You brought back Brandon Graham, and you have Jalix Hunt in the mix there. You know what I mean? And so you just
it's so crazy. Like, I don't know if I said this last part, but Jalix Hunt was playing the best football of his career.
Right.
And now he's sitting here taking away snaps.
He's going to be second string now. And like, but it's so exciting, Quell, that he was playing at that level because it gives Vic the faith to be able to actually get into a full rotation. You have guys who can play all across the defensive line, who can play both sides, and can do everything that Vic is asking. The multiplicity, Pierre. All right?
Got it in.
Yeah, man. I think we've outlined pretty much everything there is on this Packers offense. Like, they don't have a true number one. They lost Tucker Kraft. Jordan Love's playing at an extremely high level. It's a lot of the Shanahan-esque zone offense, play action, under center, screens, all of that type of stuff. But for the Eagles defense, just looking at this game, for me, this feels like a coverage game, right? Like you said, Parth, you have your full stable of pass rushers. You don't technically have to blitz. You have 4 guys who you can rotate in and out, who you feel like can, rush the passer at a, if not high level, a pretty good level. And you can devote more guys to coverage because, as we said, this is the Green Bay Packers offense who doesn't necessarily have a number 1 guy. They lost Tucker Kraft, so like they're kind of at a net negative with their weapons or receivers. They're inconsistent on the ground. Like we said, they play a ton of 12 personnel. But again, they're without Tucker Kraft. So where's their passing offense going to come from? You're probably getting your best run defending edge and Nolan Smith back. For me, it just feels like a classic kind of Vic Fangio coverage game. I don't think, just like we said on offense, bro, the recipe shouldn't be that complicated.
So if I can get into it for a little bit, I'll make it quick, of course. But
one sec before you get into it, just because I looked at the depth chart, they have 1 healthy receiver. 1.
Yeah.
I didn't put it together.
It was so sad about this is if I'm a Packers fan, I'm pissed off because this is the same situation as the playoff game. Like, God damn it, can I get a healthy pass catcher for my guy? Everyone
is injured. I'm sorry, Quell, but it's crazy. Everyone has like the little red circle next to him. Nobody is healthy but Romeo Doubs, Mr. Guardian Cap himself.
But this Packers offense is interesting. Like I said at the top, it wants to live and die through Josh Jacobs, and they try to. Run the ball on. They only pass the ball on 57% of their snaps, 27th in the league. They run the ball on first downs on 48% of their. They throw the ball on first downs on 48% of their plays, which is 24th, and even on pass neutral downs, 51%, which is 22nd. So they want to live through Josh Jacobs. The question is, like we talked about earlier with Aaron, your run game, your run blocking hasn't been very efficient. So, granted, Josh Jacobs has scored a touchdown in 5 straight games, so there's that, a silver lining. But in a world where your run game, which is the bread and butter of this offense, or anybody that runs this type of scheme, isn't working, you kind of have to have a guy to lean on, that Superman at quarterback, which is supposed to be Jordan Love for them, man. And again, they do a really good job of trying to dress everything up. I think for me, the big part for Green Bay's offense will be, can you utilize play action? Of course, in terms of the eye candy in general, they use motion on 43% of their snaps, which is 7th in the league. So we got to watch that. But they just middle of the pack in terms of how often they use play action at 27%. Despite Jordan Love being really freaking good with play action, he has a 0.28 EPA per drop back with play action, which I believe is ranked 6th in the league. In terms of play action in general and offense, Green Bay has the 5th best play action offense in the league. So when they utilize it, it works. This is one of those games where, because when you talk about the Eagles' play action defense, it hasn't been on top of the world this year, which makes sense because the run defense, they've been susceptible to that. Mm-hmm. While the Packers have struggled running the ball, same way we talk about this could be a good right game for the Eagles. This could be a good right game for the Packers because the Eagles cannot stop the run, specifically those sweeps, those stretch plays, things that target the outside. Thank goodness we got Brandon Graham and Nolan Smith back.
And Jaelan Phillips, you have guys who are willing and I guess have shown the ability this year to actually make an impact in the run game. Like Jaelan Phillips was one of the better run defenders on the Dolphins. Now obviously the bar was pretty damn low on the Dolphins, but he shows effort, right? And he can play all 3 downs because he has the ability to do that. And like we kind of talked about, they have the ability to rotate, man, because you're right, Quell. If they can just run the ball on us, it can easily be a get right game. It's funny, you're describing this offense. It sounds eerily similar to the Eagles offense earlier this year, where it's they're trying to just run the ball a ton. It's not working really well. You play action.
They want to take shots down the field.
It sounds very similar, very Eagles similar. Yeah.
Only difference is they don't have AJ Brown or Devontae Smith.
Yeah.
And even if they did, they would be injured. They don't have anybody, bro. I've never seen an injury report like that, bro. I'm looking at their depth chart, and everyone is injured. Even their backups are injured. Like
it's pretty mind blowing, man.
That's
Luckily for them, when you talk about their target distribution, only 54% of their targets went to the wide receiver position, which is 26.
Because you know who the other targets went to?
Yeah,
Tucker Kraft. And he's not healthy.
It's like, oh yeah. I guess I'll just throw it to the. Oh wait.
Look around like it was that Will Smith scene from
Fresh Prince.
Guys, like there's nobody there. It's crazy. That's why this game was really because I mean when you listen to all the big football heads talk about it, like I've listened to so many different podcasts preview this game, and all of them talk about it like the Packers are the better team. The Packers should beat their ass, but the Eagles are gonna win. And I'm like, what the hell?
So what is the logic? Like, can y'all just the lengths they go to discredit us? No one likes us.
It's pretty hilarious. It's pretty hilarious. But I mean, just in general.
That's what I'm like, and yeah, to piggyback off of what you said, bro, like everything that I've watched in the lead up to this game, they're like, it's gonna be a dog fight. It's gonna be 25-27. It's gonna be really close. We don't know who's gonna win. Like, I don't see it.
Wait, so you are well, okay. Quell, give your last point, and then let's get to predictions because I want to know your prediction.
Wait, no, matchup to watch.
Okay,
so I'm going to cheat. I'll tell you that now. But
all right,
here's my last point. It's like, man, this Packers offense, it's highly hilarious, man. Highly hilarious. Like, you never know what you're gonna get out of it, man. Like even the stat that was most hilarious to me, like we talking about how similar these two teams are. Here's the one thing that separates the two parts. You're gonna die laughing right here. Under center football, man. Under center football. I mean, in general, the Packers, they live under center on just 35% of their snaps, which is 13th in the league. But what makes you die laughing at this is typically when you see the Packers under center, I don't feel like scrolling right now. I'm on a roll. I think it's at about 42%. But the Packers throw the ball from under center more than any other team in the league versus the Eagles, who, I mean, they've been trying to change the metric, but usually you see the Eagles on the center, 26 getting the rock. So that's what separates the teams right there specifically.
You said it was gonna make me laugh. It just triggered me slightly. You just me, bro. Oh man, that's interesting. It's the meeting of two philosophies, you know, but only one of them has the aura of the Eagles. So is it really fair? Is it really a fair question? I don't know. All right, should we get into matchups?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, I'll go first. Our offense versus their defense. It's easy, bro. It's easy. The one that you watch every time the Cowboys play the Eagles, the one you watch when the Eagles play the Packers now, Micah versus Lane. You're watching two of the best in the business go up against each other. And personally, I've always just loved this matchup because, you know, all your Cowboys friends are always just like, oh, Micah's going to do this, Micah's going to do that. And what a satisfying feeling it was every Sunday to watch just Lane stonewall, just run the ball at Micah. So that's a matchup to watch because if Lane or if he switches to Mailata's side, whoever it might be, if they're not able to stop him, if he's able to pin his ears back and get us in third and long situations, I think it's going to be a long night for the Eagles. I think you really do have to keep him in check. So Lane versus Micah. Q?
You go first, P.
All right. Jalen Hurts versus the Green Bay secondary. Essentially, can Jalen's success versus zone coverage continue? Can the Eagles continue to expand and build off of the success that they've had when going under center? And then as an extension of that, does the success on the ground continue, right? Overall, against a really good defense, can Jalen continue to play at a high level?
Like I said a second ago, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to cheat. But I feel like mine is pretty fun. Really freaking fun, actually. During my whole time researching this game, the only thing that I can continue, and this is funny because this is the same thing that happened last year. Last year I did Matt LaFleur versus Vic Fangio when I wrote up the pregame preview for this game in Brazil. But mine is just the Eagles coaching staff as a whole, offense, defense.
Wow.
Against the Packers coaching staff.
Hold
on, wait. Hear me
brother.
out. Because, again, this is fun. Starting from here. The Eagles, when you talk about this Philadelphia football team, the one thing that stands out to me, and this was the big difference in the Vikings game. The Vikings, they kicked field goals. They couldn't score touchdowns. The Eagles score touchdowns in the red zone more than any other team in the league. Literally, I believe it's at 85%. When you look at this Packers team, literally, it's at 85%. When we look at this Packers team, they rank 11th in the league in terms of red zone efficiency and how often they score touchdowns in the red zone at 62.86%. For context, in the last 3 games, they're at 50%. Last game specifically, they were 1 for 5 in the red zone. They struggled. And again, I just sat here and said the Eagles, 85% in terms of scoring touchdowns in general in the red zone. So those are the opportunities you have to take advantage of. Now, where things get really fun for me is how do your team start and finish these games? I started off with this Vikings defense. I mean, this Packers defense, I believe they said that they haven't allowed a touchdown in the first half. I'm trying to work to clarify that, but for lack of a better term, the Vikings' first half defense is specifically in the first quarter. The Packers have the first ranked defense, allowing just 0.8 points in the first quarter of games. Now, what makes that fun is because their point differential in the first quarter is plus 25. The Eagles not too far behind at plus 16, so that's cool. But as we continue to go through games,
more than touchdown
separates. That's why I brought up the red zone thing early on, where as we continue to go through this game, where it gets funny is in the second quarter is when the Packers begin to slack. They have a point differential of -7 versus this Eagles team. Their point differential is plus 14 in the second quarter. But then here we go in the second half of games. And we've talked all season about how Kevin Patullo has to continue to figure it out in the second half of games. The Eagles offense looks horrible, and they just try to escape games with their tail between their legs. Well, when you look at the fourth quarter of games, this Packers offense they have a point differential of plus 24 to the Eagles -10. So before halftime, at the end of the game, those are the big portions of this football game. What happens in the red zone, that's the big portion. Like, this game will be won and lost based off coaching decisions. And, I mean, execution will matter at some point, but these coaches have to put their players in position to win these games. Otherwise, the metrics really say if you aren't balls to the wall this Monday, you aren't going to win. The other coach is just too aggressive.
All right. My other side of the ball, Eagles defense versus Packers offense.
Your ass.
No. I'm gonna go with a disgusting one. It's gonna be nasty, and you guys are gonna be like, "Yo, what's wrong with you?" I'm assuming you can look at Romeo Doubs as their wide receiver 1 right now. Even if it's like Watson when he's injured.
This is a Matthew Golden fan club, man. Stop that bullshit.
Well, he's injured.
Swear jar.
What? What
I said the S word.
Oh, I didn't even hear it. See, that's what I'm saying, man. This swear jar thing is nuts, dude. We're living in communist China. My God. No, whatever. Whoever their wide receiver 2 is, whoever ends up being the wide receiver 2, we'll see on game day. Whoever they kind of have Quinion on. Jair Alexander versus them. All right.
Wait, so you think
he's going to get the start? He's going to get the start.
And I'll do you one better. Pick.
Huh.
Whoa, bold prediction?
Pick.
Bold prediction.
Wait,
back home. He's gonna make a play.
Let's unpack that. You guys think Jair Alexander is starting?
Bro, he's working with the starters. Like he's working.
Hey, I'm not gonna say he's working with the starters, but
the only guys who are working with Christian Parker one-on-one.
Hey, you sound like me. I said the same thing a week ago with Ja'Cory and Bennett, and then they sat here and told me, yeah, he's not ready to come back yet, so he's not playing. And then they turned around and made a trade for Jair Alexander and just basically said, what you say to Pierre? I don't want to play with you anymore to Ja'Cory and Bennett and replaced him with Jair. So I want to agree with you.
Ja'Cory and Bennett have the aura, though? That is the question I have.
You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right.
There's
You're
nothing
right.
to
You're
unpack here.
100%
In
right.
fact, put all the clothes back in, zip it up, clip it in, zip it up, and then put that bag back on the shelf. Nothing to
My
unpack.
man said,
Kyle
"Look, the
Alexander.
plane come in 2 hours. Pack it up."
We got to get to the airport, buddy. TSA, long waits right now. Come on. We're waiting at the airport for 5 hours. Come on. Let's go.
Well,
All
okay.
right, what you got?
Eagles defense, Packers offense. Nolan Smith versus Zach Tom. Talked all pod about how the Packers have to get their running game going, how inconsistent it's been, how without Tucker Kraft and all the injuries they have at their skill positions, they're gonna have to run the ball. If they're gonna have any chance in this game, it's gonna come because of their success on the ground. And like we talked about, the Eagles, they've been really inconsistent stopping the run. You outlined it, Quell, versus the sweeps, the stretches, outside zone runs, everything like that. Well, they're getting their best run defending edge back.
Let's go, dude. Let's go.
Can Nolan Smith, along with the
them,
rest of the
both
front,
of them,
Yeah.
brother.
Right.
We started the year without. We went into week 6 without both our starting best run defenders at the edge position. We started the year without one and had the other one. It didn't. Here we are, midway through the season, and we have both of them. Somehow, man came out of retirement and said,
and we got another one,
for all my wrestling fans, this was like the Royal Rumble, number 30 entry. and it's Brandon Graham. Like, oh my gosh, what are we doing here?
Never say never. And and I really think people are going to be surprised with the motor that Jaelan Phillips plays with on defense when he's playing in the run game too. Like
that's what I'm not gonna lie. That's the one thing I'm most interested to see.
You worried about it?
I'm not worried about it, but I'm interested to see how is Jaelan Phillips. Like I said, notice when I sent that in the group chat, and even when I said it here, I'm not quite sure exactly who. Like it's Nolan and BG for sure. Maybe they dibble and dabble with some Jaelan, depending on what his run defense look like. I know for sure he's going to be a pass rusher. But what happens on rundown? So when the Eagles, like Aaron said when he was here, the teams have been playing a base a lot more, including the Eagles. Mm-hmm. What happens when they go base? Is it Jaelan Phillips or is it the two that we just mentioned? I'm really intrigued to see how this turns out.
I have a feeling it's going to be Phillips just because you have the size. Like BG is a bigger guy, but Jaelan Phillips and Nolan Smith are about the same size. You have like two 6'4", 6'5" edges right there. You know, BG is a little bit more compact, but just the pure size on the edge is
girth,
insane, bro.
The mass.
The girth. Hey, that's a throwback right there. Y'all don't know. Y'all had to be real Blitz boys to know that one. That's a throwback.
There's real girth there. The girth is real.
I really don't think people understand how good Jaelan Phillips is, man. Like this kid is really good, bro. We gonna see it on Monday, man.
I hope so, man. Like I said, I just want to see how much juice he still has after the injuries, man. I've been waiting so long for Eagles football. I tweeted it earlier today. I think it was like, man, I'm starting to get that itch.
We gotta wait till Monday. We gotta wait till Monday too.
Like,
yeah,
my goodness, man. I just want to. And I think I said this to Shavin the other day. But I just want to say this on podcast. I mean, you guys say all the time about how we big shout out. Big shout out.
Let's go.
We all talk about all the time about how we're in the glory ages of Eagles football. But like me personally, I sit here and I get to about Wednesday, Thursday, and I'm like, I get to watch Jalen Hurts play football. I get to watch 2 pass catchers that are Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown catch the ball. Saquon Barkley is running brother. This is not just the glory ages of football. This is what we dreamed of. This is what Meek Mill was talking about when he said, "I had to rhyme like that to shine like this, brother." Like, this is unreal, man. Like, it's such a blessing.
And we're definitely taking. And the thing is we're so thankful. We're definitely taking it for granted too. Like you just. When we're going to be in the dog days,
it's impossible not to.
Why don't you know you're in the good days when you're in the good ones? what movie is that from? He's like, why don't they ever tell you you're in the good days? I forget, man. That's exactly what it's going to be, dude. We're going to be watching. We're going to be watching some just garbage quarterback in 15 years, and it's going to be like, remember the days of Jalen Hurts, man?
I think all the time, man. I pray I'm not setting my son up for failure. Like, buddy.
Oh, brother.
Because all he gonna think
all we can hope for. Listen,
watch the
all we can hope for is we get the Patriots little dip, and then you get Drake May. Like that's okay. That's okay. I'll pay the price for the couple
even
years.
outside of Drake May, because that's a great example. Because like I know between
Wait,
the era
time out.
of
Time out. Because we're on the topic of Drake May. You guys see the evidence?
That Tom Brady was
Tom Brady's son.
Drake May is Tom Brady's clone, brother. Brother, there's too many coincidences here. There's too many.
All I'm saying is, Drake May was not quarterback one.
Right, me too.
He was,
and I stayed down.
I've been a Drake May believer, bro. After last year, I was like, "Ooh, was I wrong?" But
no, you got to stay down.
I knew it. I was like, just believe in your evaluation. I also thought Jaden was like, he needed to put on weight. That was my big thing. I was like, you need to put on weight. Also, I'm sorry,
like you need to pick up a pen, brother.
Brother, put that guy on IR, dude. Like, I get it. Maybe
they're gonna try and bring him back. They're gonna do it,
dude. Nah, he's not going on IR. Same way that Joe Burrow didn't go on IR, even though you coming back at some point. We gotta believe in you. I think the season's over, but
yeah, bro, just lock in.
Even that aside,
he's already nursing a hamstring and another injury, right? Like, let the guy just. I mean,
you can never have too many reps, if you ask me. He's still a second-year quarterback. He's still learning the process.
There's no question about that, Quell. But to me, if I'm doing the calculus at this point, right, he just dislocated his elbow in the most gruesome way possible.
But there's no ligament damage.
Right. No ligament, no, of course, right? And it's non-throwing arm. So very lucky. You dodged a bullet, right? But he shouldn't have been in that game anyways. It was already garbage time, right?
Are you going to make the same mistake twice, basically?
Exactly. And you have the ability to let him get healthy. He's been nursing these injuries since the beginning of the season. He hasn't been healthy a single game this year, right? You have the ability
to knock your as play devil's advocate on your same mistake twice. Do you truly want the last time that Jalen threw a football to be at the end of November? Even if it means nothing in the game, just a couple.
It's a month more of football. Like it's 4 games.
I ain't saying you got to play him the whole game. Just
is the juice? Get him the juice worth the squeeze?
That's where
bring him to practice. You ain't got to play him in the game. Let him practice.
Yeah, I mean that's a valid point. That's a very valid point. You don't put him on IR for that. I just don't want to see them trotting him out there like with some big, because he's going to have some huge brace on the non-throwing arm. He's going to have the knee brace, and his hamstring's already going to be hurt. And he's going to look like a freaking cyborg out there. And it's like, brother, like just get healthy. But no, that's a good point, Quo. That's a good point. Let him practice. I would do that. I would be okay with that. But then you have the question of like, start getting into practice, but you're tossing.
This season's probably going to be over by then.
Exactly. That's why I would just IR him and be like, all right, let's get a high pick. Like, I don't even want.
They're still going to get the high pick.
Yeah,
I do think that, because like I say all the time, I mean, yeah, we ain't a commander spot, but just for the hell of conversation, they were always a year ahead of schedule,
big time.
So what some people would say is you giving that year back right now. How I see it is, if you can sit here and see your roster as a year ahead of schedule, you could retain a bunch of those same pieces that you were able to retain, and then come across the top pick the next year. You setting yourself up in a good position.
The issue is there's not a ton of young talent on that team right now.
Yeah,
they just accelerated their process too much, and now the average age of 32 is just insane to me, bro. It's such an insane stat in the NFL, and you have a quarterback on a rookie contract, obviously a little bit older, but it's just crazy. But anyways, we're so off topic.
This has been a good pod.
It's been a fun one, dude. Been a good week of pods. If you guys didn't listen to our last podcast, make sure you guys
please go back and give that a listen.
Unbelievable pod. So make sure to go back and listen. But let's get our predictions out there.
Let's do it.
Should I go first? You go first.
You
Pierre.
Take the honors, man. You do it all the time. Pierre ain't going first. Get that church in the mouse.
Give it to us, Pierre. No, he's ready. He adjusted the visor. Well, he adjusted the visor.
And I got the visor back this week, man.
Visor was
been, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, yeah. But I outlined it, man. The Packers. This is a football team that is hurting. I don't think they have the horses to keep track with the Eagles on offense. Like I said, I've been seeing people say this game is going to be close.
It might be. It is.
I don't know.
It's the style of football. It's the style of football. Yeah. And I mean, last time I said the game was going to be close, they got the hell beat out of them. So I should just keep the ball rolling. But theoretically, it will be style of football. the player, like we can joke about it and say we got a better team and they're hurt, but they have really good freaking players on the other side. When you start talking about best players in football, they got a couple of them on that other side of the ball, just like we do.
And I also think there's something to what Aaron was laying out. Not to just completely cut you off here in your prediction, but coming off the bye, the best team I've ever seen off a bye, Doug Peterson teams. Not a question.
You're a damn liar in your life.
Andy Reid.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but I mean,
Andy Reid went like 10 or 11-0 off a bye week, off a point in time.
Doug was perfect. Doug was perfect on the Eagles.
He wasn't 11-0.
He was like 7-0, bro. Like they brought it up like every time. Doug was
like,
Doug,
Andy
and
Reid
brought it up. They were like,
absurd.
he does it like
even
Andy.
to this day. Andy Reid is still absurd after the bye week.
Listen, did Andy Reid win a ring with the Eagles? No, Andy Reid is the goddamn enemy. So I don't want to hear it. And take my money out of the swear jar. I'm not putting any for that one. I'm not putting any for that one.
Damn does not go into the swear jar.
Golly. Andy Reid. All right. He should have won one with us if he wanted the compliment. Okay. Shout out to you, Dougie.
I think Dan might be the only one that don't go into the swear jar. Oh, hell. Damn in hell.
Yeah, but didn't bring us back again. So Doug did it, and then Nick did it twice. Shout out.
Jam, get out that jam. Give me 50. Ain't got to ask again.
What you say?
Jam, get out that jam. I give him 50. Ain't got to ask again. He just said back again, you know?
All right. Let me give my score. I'm going to go Eagles 31, Packers 23. 20.
Okay, so 23. We changed your mind a little bit. What were you originally going to say?
35-21.
That sounds more like the Pierre score that I was expecting. Because the way you were talking the whole pod, I was like, damn, he really thinks we're about to blow him out. That sounds more like what I was expecting.
What was the final score?
I said 31-23.
23.
He gave him two. He gave their ass a safety.
He took away 4 points. He took away 4 points from the Eagles. I'll give him that. Quell, he's wearing his Love Hurts hoodie right now. Do you think he can see anything against the Eagles right now? He's like, I can't, dude. Fuck. Jalen's on the other team.
To the lady that came in my job this
Eagles
week,
by 100.
Man. Lady came in my job this week. I was pressed. Soon she came through the door, I said, "Yes, go Birds, baby." She was with her husband. I was like, you could tell he wasn't no Eagles fan. As soon as I said that, he was like, man, get out of here, pal. Get out of here. She's like, yeah, I'm from Philly. I'm like, you know ball, girl. You know ball. Go Birds.
You know what? I hope you gave her a discount.
I did.
Eagles discount. There we go. But charge your boyfriend extra.
He ain't getting nothing because he already knew.
He already knew. Spitting the food real quick. Commanders fan.
When you had a perfect opportunity, man. You're supposed to be like, and you're supposed to hawk tour on that thing.
I made the sound. I literally made the sound. And this is why I'm not famous. I don't take advantage of my moment. I had the moment to shine. All right, Quell. What's your prediction, brother?
My prediction. It's going to be an interesting game, man. You know, I always got to drop some gems before the prediction. And doing my research, shout out to the Packers for dropping all these gems. This is a third game. This marks the third Monday Night Football game in history against the Eagles at Lambeau Field for the Packers. Last was 1996 and 2003. The Packers at home against the Eagles in general are 18-6, including winners of 6 of their last 9. But in terms of Eagles Packers as a whole, the Eagles have won 4 of the last 5, including the playoffs. That's why Aaron said we got to go to Cheesehead next. It's not fair. But here's the big kicker. This is my favorite stat of them all. The last 2 regular season games played by these teams have been decided by 2 points. The last 2 regular games decided by these 2 teams have been decided by 7 points or less. Each of the last 2. So it's going to be you weren't wrong, Pierre. You shouldn't have let us move you off your pivot. It's going to be a close game. These are 2 good football teams.
Bro, he had a 12-point difference, and he went down to 8.
Okay.
Yeah, we brought him the right way. We brought him the right way.
Okay. Just for the hell of it, since we are here at 1 hour and 20. Homecoming for Zach Bond, born in Wisconsin. Went to high school at Deer High in Wisconsin. Went to school at UV in Wisconsin. Christian Watson's father actually played wide receiver for the Eagles back in 1997. So it's a bunch of love.
So he was one of the receivers that we just had. One of the So we could one day play Shelton Gibson's son.
Somehow Shelton Gibson makes too many appearances on this podcast.
It's because Jair has 18 on.
No.
He has 18 on, and I was like, the Shelton Gibson number, of course.
But in terms of a pick for this game, it's going to be close, man. I think it's going to be fun. It's in Green Bay. Then Pack fans show up. While Eagles fans show up, then Pack fans show up. I'm going to go Eagles. $28-25.
All right, I'll make mine simple because we're late. 31-28 Eagles. I think it's going to come down to a field goal. I think it will be a field goal, but I think it goes our way. Jake the Snake gets out there.
Right down the bob.
Boots it. Maybe 45. He's going to boot it after Jair gets a pick at the end. Jordan Love is going to try to do some.
He stayed true. It's going to happen. He stayed true. He said that from the start. He stayed true.
It's the other way, buddy.
It's
hard. On my screen, I'm pointing to him.
I know. It's so hard. It's so hard to point, bro. Yeah, I have so much trouble. I just try to just go both ways. But anyways, appreciate all 63 of you who have tapped in with us today.
Appreciate all the y'all that's going to tune in after when Pierre drops the pod.
Appreciate Aaron for hopping on with us today. Appreciate you, man, as always, giving us your time.
Shout listeners, those people at Cheesehead TV.
Yes, sir. Gonna be a hell of a matchup weekend or Monday.
The TPB Cheesehead TV collab crossover episode is gonna be so fire.
It will indeed.
Always, every time. I gotta make sure I tell my man Brian to tune in. I'm really locked in with the guys over at Cheesehead.
That's why, you know what? That's why I've had Brian in my head all day. I was like, oh, we have Brian, but it was Aaron today. And I just in my head, I was like, oh, Cheesehead TV. 2 of them. I'm sure people mix up the double PQ. Double PQ. Who knows? But anyways, we're just rambling at this point. It is.
Hey man, this type of episode that people deserve. I'm not gonna complain. We went an hour and 20 because we didn't give them a bye week episode. They deserve
facts. So stop complaining it's too long and listen to the damn episode.
Or fast forward to what you want to hear.
Builds character. I'm tired, Grandpa. Shut
That's
up.
too damn bad.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Make sure to rate, review, listen, 5 stars, all the nonsense, but just actually do the nonsense. Thank you to Shavin and Tanimai, probably some of the closest people to the pod who are commenting. So, if anybody who is not, related to people on the pod in some way could comment, it'd be fine.
Hey, Pierre, it's like we beat the Rams' ass and your brother just dipped out.
His brother back. His brother doesn't support anymore. There's no more hype heroes. There's nothing of that in the chat.
He's literally right. He's right in the living room. He's right in the living room right now. I told him we were streaming.
Dude, you should have told him to be an Eagle, man.
He said, man, they beat my team up. Go to hell.
He'll be an Eagles fan when Jared Verse comes to the Eagles. Just trust. Oh my God.
Off. It's the direction you can.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Go Birds.
Go Birds.